everyone, and welcome back to the Humbling Reality Podcast. I'm your host, Haley.
And I'm Meredith.
And we are today going to talk about what to look for in friends, a positive perspective, because last time we probably focused a little more on the negative. So let's be positive today. How to find good friends, what to look for, all that
Good stuff. I was debating saying this at the beginning of the episode or the end, but my top recommendation for shows relating to friends is Sex and the City. I think it's a great show to give you an idea of
like positive friendship.
Yeah. And I think some people are going to think that's a hot take because people are like, Carrie is so toxic. Okay. We all are, first of all. Second of all,
that's a very fair point.
They're like, people's argument is that she's always talking about herself. She's the main character. She's writing a column about her life. Obviously, it's going to be all about her. Anywho, I digress. But great show, especially for
love this
like post-grad life. Honestly, I would say it helps you navigate it. And yeah, I had to throw that out there because I think a lot of my ideas of like good friends comes from that show. Which, again, I don't know. People are going to have a hot take on that. Or maybe that's a hot take. People are maybe disagree with me. But regardless, I think you should watch the show.
I have not seen the show. Please don't act like that. Don't act that surprised. It's really okay. So this is the thing.
It is okay.
The classics, for some reason, I haven't really watched any of them.
Like the classics, like what else?
So actually, okay, is Sex and the City supposed to be... Is it like a borderline comedy or is it in the like officially in the drama category?
I would not classify it as comedy, but I will look it up.
Okay.
She's like witty, like, and all of them are like witty kind of and funny in their own ways, but it's not a comedy show. It's not like Friends.
Okay. Okay. I understand what you're saying.
Oh, it's a comedy drama.
Okay. Well,
oh, wait, that's And Just Like That. Hang on. Romance.
Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. I shouldn't have expected much else. Yeah, I didn't watch like Friends. I didn't watch like How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one either.
The Office.
Nope. Parks and Rec.
Yeah, no.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No.
Those aren't like friend shows though. Those are like, to me, I just classify as comedy. And I don't like comedy. I
don't know why. The classics, I mean, they're classic for a reason, obviously, but I just couldn't get into them. Maybe if I had started watching them when they came out, I could have followed along for however many seasons they had. But now everyone, especially with Office, people are like, oh, the first season's bad, but like, it's fine. It gets better. I don't want to sit through 22 episodes of bad.
22 episodes?
No, I have no idea how long.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's a lot.
I mean, shows back then had a lot of episodes. I just don't want to sit through that.
That's fair. What would you say, like, any shows influenced your idea of friendships?
Oh my gosh. Positively?
We're trying to stick to positive this week, so yes.
There's nothing that I can point out and be like, I learned so much about, great communication from this show. But there's definitely a lot of shows that told me what not to do. A lot of the high school-based shows, which is apparently all they make.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my friend a while ago, and I was like, why are there no real shows based in college?
Yeah.
And they were like, because college is just such a hard thing to kind of... People just don't care.
Yeah.
People don't care about what, people go through in college because it just seems...
It's so, I feel like, what's the word? Not unique. Like, maybe unique, but like...
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it's just hard to grasp in a show. Yeah. Like, everyone knows high school drama, but college drama, it's like, we're all adults. Maybe we shouldn't care about it.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's accurate. I don't know. But at the same time...
I think those he tried it for a little bit. Like, the last 2 seasons, I want to say. But it like, that's when the OC started to go down.
Another show I didn't watch. I'm sorry.
The OC I honestly didn't think was that good. I don't know why it was so hyped up. It was apparently like right around the One Tree Hill time.
I think One Tree Hill
was so much better.
That is not a friendship show.
No, not really. Yeah, no.
Hey, well, Haley and Lucas's friendship.
Yeah, but we never got the backstory was just they've been friends forever. Not like...
I agree. I do
There
think
are
they had the
moments,
best
but-
communication, though.
Yes.
Their communication was at least healthier
Yes.
than a lot of friendships can
Should we-
be.
That's a great segue into one of the things I had written down. Should we get into it?
Sure.
I I have 7 points that I wrote down.
Wow. How about okay? We'll do a back and forth. You talk about your first point, and then I'll respond.
Okay, well, I won't start at my first point.
Okay,
but
start wherever you want.
I'm gonna start at the one about communication.
Go ahead, start there.
Okay, this was actually the 6th one. Wow, it's kind of far down the list. 6 out of 7. I said another thing I had to learn was how to communicate, because I'm such a people pleaser that part of setting boundaries is like communicating and saying I emotionally cannot hear you vent about something so pointless right now. And I say that a lot nicer, and I've also established it with some of my best friends where it's like, hey, do you have the space for this right now? It's really not that important. Or it's like, please just listen to me. Like, I know you might not have the space. And it's like, you can say yes or no to those things. And I think that's huge. It's like, oh my God, I can say no to a friend about, something.
Yeah.
So, and if they're like, I have a really hard day, I need you, say less, I'm dropping everything, call me. But if it's like,
I got you. I understand.
Bro, someone put the wrong rice in my carriage. Don't come to me with that
bro.
on my on a bad day. Don't do that. So I think it's kind of a stretch. But yeah, one big thing I look for in friendships and maintaining good friendships is being able to openly communicate. And again, not being saying really, what's the word, insensitive things like, no, I can't hear you, or I can't listen to you right now kind of thing. But being like, I have a super busy next hour. Can I call you this time? I don't know, making time for your friends in a way that's that's not taking too much from your cup kind of thing. So setting boundaries essentially. And then another thing I learned was knowing that it's okay to ask after they vented, being or whatever, not even, it doesn't have to be venting, but just after they said what they need to say, saying, okay, do you want me just to listen, or do you want me to help you brainstorm a solution? And I think that's kind of game changer, because it's you're meeting someone's needs and you're not just trying to read their mind kind of thing.
That makes sense.
I think that's at least a misconception I had for sure, where I was like, oh, if someone's your best friend, you don't have to say these things, you just know. That's not the case. That is not the case. It is okay to be yeah, I may know you the back of my hand, but what do you need right now? And I don't think it's a harmful question. When I get that question, I'm like, oh, wow, this person actually genuinely cares to help me and not just be another person saying something to me kind of thing.
Wow. No.
Am I Buddha now? Am I so insightful?
No, I really like that perspective. I didn't so I feel like this is something maybe you talked about one time in a previous episode, or something that was mentioned in terms of communication and making sure that someone else wants your advice before you give it. And it's so interesting because I don't know, I feel like people don't talk about that, or the concept of I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their own agency. I'm not telling you, you can say whatever you want, technically speaking. That doesn't mean you should, but
that's true.
Or that you should not face consequences, or understand that there could be consequences. But in terms of communication, I guess maybe because I understand that people will always give advice. It's not something that I ever question, oh, but did I ask? But hearing you say it, there's probably times when I wish people had asked if I wanted advice. But I guess I'm just so used to it. I was like, oh, well, more advice. Okay. Yeah. I guess I just kind of let it slide off. But maybe that's not useful. If I can understand how in friendships, that's probably not useful, because if someone just doesn't take your advice every single time, you're probably
why am I trying? Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I trying?
And then it's that's not the problem, boo thing. They just didn't want the advice. It's not you, it's them.
Yeah. So my biggest thing is communication. Like that's number one for me in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Friendships, relationships, family dynamics, whatever. Even if you're telling me the worst thing, you could literally come up to me and be like, you have ruined my life. I at least want you to tell me.
Be like, thank you for telling me.
No, but seriously,
Yeah.
I do want people to tell me, because I feel like in many situations, people keep things to themselves. So like, oh, I don't want to hurt you, or I don't want to get into a confrontation. And I never want to come from a stand. I never want people to think if you come to me, I'll just be mad at you. I think when I was younger, I did used to be like that, but I also didn't know how to properly communicate. So I think everything is a defense mechanism. So now though, after seeing how much like not communicating can affect everything in life, just know, okay, learn how to communicate first of all. Friendships, like I said, in every single possible relationship that you have. And number two, more than anything, okay, actually I'll speak for myself and suggest that if you don't feel this way, that's fine. I guess just know like what everyone's boundary is. But if you don't tell me something, I cannot know. So you can sit there and be like, oh, you should know, but I might not know.
No one's a mind reader.
Exactly. I genuinely don't know. It's not me trying to be like, oh, I'm trying to be slick. No. I literally do not know. And I think a lot of times people say, oh, well, it should be obvious. It's like, it's obvious to you because it happened to you.
Yeah.
But it's not obvious to everyone. So just explain it. And you don't even have to explain it in like okay, so, you know, this is why it hurt me. But if you just say very straight up, like, this is the situation, I didn't like how you handled this, that's cool. We can have a conversation based on that. But if you just keep it to yourself and then you get mad and then you stop talking to someone, like, what does that do?
At that point, you're the problem.
Two people can be the problem.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it may have been my fault originally, but I didn't even know.
Right.
So
can't hold anger against someone if you're not gonna say what's wrong.
Yeah, just try to promote healthy communication.
So what does healthy communication look like? How would you describe it? Because we did not, like, I will say it. You just said it. We do not know how to. We were not taught how to communicate.
No, not a big thing, not a major thing.
No. So what would you? How would you like? What would you suggest?
I think the most important thing is being honest, regardless of. I'm not trying to say hurt people's feelings. Like no. But regardless of how you're feeling, I think you are valid in that feeling. So being honest about feeling that way, regardless of what someone's going to say in response. They can be like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. But I think you should still get it off your chest or whatever. Like, as long as you're being honest. I mean, don't try to manipulate the situation. But if you feel some sort of way, like, explain that. Also, I don't know, healthy communication, that's so hard. I think be open to hearing out other people. And also walk in understanding that people have other perspectives than you, and then that's okay. Everyone comes from a long background that you have really no control of. Right. So if someone grew up one way and they value these things, you're not going to get that to change in one conversation. You're not going to be able to explain how those things don't matter to you and how they shouldn't matter to them. You're just going to have to operate knowing that you have two different backgrounds. Regardless, even if you lived in the same house, you might still value two different things. So it doesn't matter. Just be open to those conversations. You don't have to I don't know. I'm a big fan of like, not everything needs to be resolved in a second. Yeah. Like anytime I have we talked about this before, but I'm the type of person where sometimes I need space for a little bit to collect my thoughts. But more than that, I also don't think everything can be solved in one conversation. If it's this big argument, I don't know what you think 15 minutes is going to solve. It might need to be over the course of like a few days, a week, 2 weeks. I don't know, depending on what it was.
There's no timeline to healing.
No, and listen, once
Or
again,
reconciling.
two people can be wrong in a situation. So I don't know. Don't villainize anyone also, or vilify, whatever the word is.
Mm-hmm.
Just understand everyone's human and operate based on that, and know that to that person, what they did, they might be like, hey, it's because of this XYZ. Just listen to the explanation. You don't have to agree. Usually people have explanations for what they did. That doesn't excuse the potential impact it had, or it doesn't mean that you have to forgive them because, oh, I had a past trauma or whatever. But it does mean that you should at least
Be
listen.
sensitive, yeah.
Empathetic or compassionate. I actually think compassionate is a better word, because I saw that video. I think I sent it to you.
Oh, yeah.
And it was when someone, true compassion is when you're able to like understand, or you're able to empathize or have compassion for things you don't understand. And I feel like that's a great practice to try. I'm not great at it.
But you just said it, practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to be
just
perfect.
Keep working at it, yeah. I think to add off of that, in addition to speaking your truth and knowing that what you're feeling is valid, just being sensitive to whatever someone else is going through too. Like, you can say what you need to say. Like part of healthy communication is saying what you need to say and also being respectful and sensitive to someone else's feelings, which you don't have to bend over backwards trying to make sure that the other person, forgives you or whatever.
Yes.
That's too much of an extreme people pleaser kind of like characteristic. But being like, how can I say this so that they know I still care about them, for example, or that the door for future communication is open, which kind of leads to my next point. Like, if you're in an argument with someone, part of healthy communication is being like, I can't talk about this right now. And it's not because I don't want to. It's because, like, for me and Haley, like, we both need time to process what's going on. So I've said it a million times to my friends. I'm like, this literally has nothing to do with you. Can I get back to you in, like, X amount of time? Because I literally just need to think about this. It's not I'm plotting against you. I'm literally just, I don't know what to say right now kind of thing. And I think that's appreciated, especially with someone who's mature. I think if your friends are like, no, then you need to get rid of your friends. That's a personal opinion.
I think,
like,
so I do feel like everyone has a different way of communicating, which they have kind of... They've convinced themselves like, oh no, what I'm doing is fine. And that's fair, because if it's worked for you, it's worked for you. But if you run into someone else who doesn't have that communication style, you're struggling, because it's like, oh, how am I supposed to have this communication with you if we just don't see eye to eye on communication? I was just going to
say, not seeing eye to eye. Yeah.
And that's fine. But
it's knowing communication styles, and like,
someone needs to adapt in the moment, or at least like try to understand where the other person's coming from, why you need certain things, and what you're willing to give up in the moment. Like, would you be willing to give up, your stubbornness for a second about having the conversation right now and waiting? Or could you have a smaller conversation right now, knowing that a bigger conversation needs to happen tomorrow or the next day?
Yeah.
Because what I say now is in the moment thing, and later is probably going to be more useful. I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
I think another thing we talked about in a past episode is that behavior is also always a form of communication. Always. True. So, and I think another aspect of that is that it might be more reflective on them than it is on you. So if like, someone's really angry at you about something and you think that they're blowing it out of proportion, don't like totally discredit them, but behavior is a form of communication. They're clearly mad about something. And also, how much of this is what you actually did and how much of it is maybe something else, maybe something from the past. There's things to remember. I feel like I still am a people pleaser, not a formal people pleaser, but like a healing. What's the word? I think it's like a healing people pleaser or whatever. Like a heal.
Trying to be reformed.
Yeah.
You're not fully reformed, so.
But I also like don't want to be. I like pleasing people. It's part of
fair,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't want to not please people. But anyway,
I got you.
like I think there's a balance between, you know, respecting and meeting someone's needs and also being like there's comfort kind of in being like, oh, this isn't entirely a reflection on me. This it's not entirely what I did. There are other aspects of it. And I think that's just important to remember. Behavior is always a form of communication. Always.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It goes back to the honesty thing. I think obviously you can keep things to yourself. You don't have to be honest about everything. But your behavior, or even I would say like body language does a lot of speaking for you. So if you're uncomfortable in a situation, like other people can read that. And you don't necessarily have to talk about it, but you do have to understand that that is a form of language that other people still have to interpret in their own way or like deal with in their own way. So you don't have to be honest about, or not even honest. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to talk about anything, but understand that, like, you know, people aren't stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I can see you, babe. You know, that's it.
Yeah. And I think like as we get older too, we learn to control it more. We also like learn to read it more and become more like sensitive to other people's body language. Like when I see my friends getting anxious, I'm immediately like I know all of their anxious cues. So when I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, here's what we need to do. And I'm not like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm just like, all right, let's calmly change the topic. It's like a more smooth transition kind of thing. Rather like in high school, I'd be like, oh my God, are you okay? Blink yes, or blink twice if yes, blink once if no. Like, I think as we get older, we get better at managing other people's emotions and behaviors and vice versa, managing our own, like, you know, sometimes adults, like, I can't interpret what they're feeling just based on body language. And then there's some who are legit children and like throwing a tantrum in the store. And I'm like, okay, this one I know. The tantrum, I know that one.
Yeah. Communication. Let's move on to another point.
Communication, bam. Healthy communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
I said my number one was to trust your gut.
That's a good one.
Because it's a lot easier said than done because I think developmentally it's easier said than done because I feel like in high school, high school, first of all, you have such a small pool.
Yes,
at least
absolutely.
for us. But also like, even if we went out to like town sports, you still had a kind of small pool. Like there's only so many people that you can interact with, I guess.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean.
But like in college, at least like I went to a huge school, it's limitless. You know what I mean? And even in some other schools, because people are selective with who they hang out with. So your options are kind of limitless, and they're also your options. Like you have the choice if you want to keep them in your life or not. So I think if they're making you ever feel like not good enough, or like you just kind of get like a weird feeling when you're around them, that is your body being like, next, find someone else, do something else. I think the people who make you feel like really, what's the word? I guess like, honestly, like when I'm with my friends, I shrug a lot because it's just like, I'm a balloon. Like I'm so like put together the rest of the day. And then when I'm with my friends, I'm like it's a legit weight off my shoulders, and I'm just shrugging because I'm like, I can like actually settle and like, I don't have to like put on a show kind of thing, or like wear one of my many hats, like teacher, student, daughter, you know what I mean? Like I can just be Meredith.
Yourself.
Yeah.
That's tough. Unfortunate reality.
Yeah. I think that's something good to look out for though. Like that might be a green flag. We're talking about positives. People who ease you, I guess, is what I would say.
I agree with that. I mean, there's really nothing. I can't say anything. I don't know. Yes,
you agree?
I agree. I very much am a believer in trust your gut, mainly because, I mean, my gut has been wrong. She's been wrong a couple times, but for the most part, you know, if you're vibing and you're chilling and you feel like, oh, okay, we really get along. I see, you know, they don't do anything that immediately makes me question certain things. Then, I mean, play it by ear. Like,
Yeah.
obviously don't be like, yep, forever.
Yeah.
Best
Yeah.
friend for life. And then,
Get tattoos.
well, I mean, hey, if you're going to get a tattoo, get something that you're okay with having on your body for the rest of your life, even if you don't know that person anymore.
Some
But
people,
yes.
yeah, I feel bad on TikTok. Some people are like, oh, the girl I haven't talked to in 7 years has the other half of this heart. I'm like, oh my God.
I mean,
that
okay, yeah.
stinks.
A heart, like, you can explain that one. There are
Yeah.
other things where I'd be like, well, okay.
Like their birthday or something.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, initials,
no.
we start to get a little dicey.
Yeah.
But overall, just definitely trust your gut. You know, trust your gut every so often.
Yeah. Like,
Understand it changes. The gut may change.
and also just like to add on to that, like, listen. You don't have to like follow it like it's your Bible, but just be like, I'm feeling anxious. Was it something they said? Is it something they did? Is it just them? Just like question it. You don't have to, what is it, like follow it? Like, yeah, you don't have to follow it without question. You can just notice that it's there and try to understand why.
Yeah.
And I think that honestly doing that is great practice for understanding what you look for in a friend. Because you might say, oh yeah, it is like how they word things and I really don't like that. Okay, well, I don't have to hang out with them anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
now that you understand what your body's telling you, you can understand what you like more and what you don't like. So I think it's kind of a win-win.
I agree. We can move on to another point. I feel like at this point, trust your gut connects to a lot of things.
Yeah.
I really like point number 2.
Go for it.
Do you want me to read it? Choose people who choose you. Okay, so I agree with this, and something I've actually had to learn how to value is that I feel like to some extent with most people, I tend to reach out first and be like, oh my gosh, hey, like, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And, or at least I did that a lot in high school and at the beginning of college, but over time, first of all, I became a really bad texter and communicator. Like halfway through college, I just lost that ability, apparently. But I think, you know that saying, like, it's a two-way street.
That's literally on here.
Oh, of course it is. I don't always agree. Like, yes, I think sometimes, though, you maybe can or should give more. Like, if someone's going through a tough time, I don't expect everything to be 50-50.
Yeah.
But overall, generally, I do think everyone should share the I don't know, effort in the relationship. Because if I feel like you're not putting at least 50%. I mean, you can put in 51 if you want. But if you're not even putting in 40, then we have an issue. Because, like, I don't know, why am I exerting myself so much to communicate with you when I feel like if I don't speak to you for a month, you would be radio silent and you wouldn't reach out to me.
That's a hurtful feeling, being like, ooh, if I don't keep this going, it's not gonna continue. I think that's like,
no, super hurtful, but also eye-opening.
Yeah. Do with that what you will, because maybe you're like, okay, how much does this friendship like really affect my life? Does it affect it in a good way? Do I need them to keep going? Like, do they fill my cup enough? Or do they fill my cup? Are they necessary in filling my cup for me to get by? Kind of thing. But I think I like touched on 2 things that you touched on in like my notes. I have a love-hate relationship with the phrase, if they wanted to, they would. Because I agree, like, I don't always want to be the one reaching out.
Yeah.
But I have some friends who I see like 2 or 3 times a year, and I'll usually initiate it, partially because I was the one who went away to school, so they don't know when I'm home, you know? And also because like they're just horrible texters. But, sorry, did you want to say something?
No, I agree. Okay. That also has to do with communication, though.
Yeah.
Being a bad texter is kind of on you.
Yeah.
To some extent. Or just being a bad like you really couldn't pick up the phone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I agree in principle.
Yeah. I think like to add on to that, like not, I guess not to add on, but I guess I don't know, like not like play devil's advocate, but to give a different perspective. I don't totally mind being the one to reach out always.
Yeah. Not many people do.
Some people, well, with some people, because those people add value to my life. I don't need them to function, but they do add value to my life. So when I have time for them and I haven't seen them in a while, I'll be the one to reach out, which again, I don't mind. But also, like when we hang out, they're entirely present. They know what's going on in my life. Like they have thoughtful questions to ask. They're not just like, yeah, how's your life been? They're like, so how's teaching going? So tell me more about, the kids. Tell me more about what you're doing. Tell me what you want to do in the future. Like it's meaningful conversations, and
Got it.
they add value to my life. So I guess my advice is it's safe if you don't want to be hurt to go with, if they wanted to, they would. But I think it's important to remember that people might not reach out, but that doesn't mean they don't care and that they don't add value to your life. Does that make sense? Like,
yes, I agree. Once again, in principle,
yeah,
I think a lot of this is, I mean, everything operates on like a scale. Like who do you expect this from? What, like if someone did this, does it depend who it is, et cetera, et cetera. And there's some people who I'm sure genuinely don't mean anything bad by it. They're just like, oh, I was super busy, or oh, I didn't think about it. And it doesn't mean they don't care. I don't know. To me,
it's frustrating.
Play it by, once again, I'm not gonna use that. I'm not saying that again, but just maybe it depends on the situation. It depends on the friendship, and that friendship better than anyone. So if you're like, no, I think genuinely if I didn't reach out for like 8 months, they genuinely would not think twice about where I've been, even though we text like every day. Then it's okay. Then who's keeping the friendship together. And that's, I mean, do you want to? Is it that worth it to you? Is it more tedious than beneficial? Which I feel like you wrote.
I did. That was like my last point. I said, if they're causing more stress than they're bringing in joy, they're not worth it.
I agree.
It doesn't need to be like, this was another point I had. And it's also what you talked about, that two-way street. I have like I think I do have a little bit of a different opinion than you on that one. I don't even remember
what I said.
You said that... Well, you said I think you said you didn't love the analogy that it's a two-way street because you think it's more give and take. Like more, like it's okay to do like...
Oh, no, I agree.
Okay.
No. I think it's a two-way street is 100%. I do operate on that. But I think sometimes there are nuances.
Kind of thing?
Yeah, in the sense... Okay, first of all, it is a two-way street always. Like, if you don't call me, but you always expect me to call you... Like, that's a conversation for another day. But at the same time, if if it's, like I said, I think I said if it's 40%, I don't know why 40%. But, like, if you give 40% and, like, who even knows how you would quantify that? But if I feel like you give enough effort, then I think that's fulfilling the two-way street spectrum. If you give nothing or minimal, then, that's different. That's all I meant.
I think,
but you can, go ahead on your perspective. We'll see.
Maybe my opinion isn't different. Maybe my analogy and understanding is just different because I think we're saying this. Well, when I say it, I think the analogy is the same thing, but I think I just understand it differently. Maybe
that's fair. Go ahead.
I think of it like an ocean and kind of like water levels.
Wow, way more complicated. Go ahead.
Well, my therapist said it to me once. She's like, "Life's an ocean," and it has literally stuck with me for so long.
Interesting. Okay,
because like it's just. It helped me a lot because like there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows, but you're going to be above water, period. You're going to be okay kind of thing. And that's just...
What if there's a drought? Or what if there's a tsunami?
So I've been in a lagoon this whole time. Okay. So I haven't thought about that. I've been in a lagoon in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Got it.
So you can just not with that, Haley.
Sorry, I thought they were relatively practical. But go ahead.
No, my lagoon.
Got it. Very stable.
Yeah.
Okay, understand.
But I think friendships are the same way. Like you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows, and you might not be on the same high or the same low. So you're going to need to give a little and you're going to need to take a little, but it shouldn't always be one way.
Like no, yes,
do you know what I mean? Like
understand.
I'm imagining a really high wave, and then when there's a high wave, there's obviously a trough, right? We have peaks and troughs. So someone's in the trough and someone's at a peak. You got to balance each other out, kind of thing. And it doesn't always have to be like you always have to be at 50-50 like you're both kind of happy, kind of sad, but like to be like, oh, I'm super happy I have the space and I can help you feel a little bit better, and to give a little bit. Maybe kind of like buckets, but my mind operates in a lagoon with waves in Hawaii.
Buckets.
Because how people are like, oh, fill each other's buckets. Like, what do you do? Which
I understand what you mean.
So I think our analogies, I think we're saying the same thing. Like it's.
No, I think we're saying slightly different things. Okay. But I don't disagree with you, if that makes sense.
Can you clarify yours then? Because I thought we were saying similar
Okay,
things.
no. So I think so mine is not from a take perspective, I guess. Mine was just generally.
Okay.
Because let's unpack. I want to unpack your analogy a little bit for my understanding.
Okay.
So, okay, when you say give and take, in what situation? Like can you give me a scenario?
Okay.
Because then I may slightly push back. But
okay. No, that's okay. You don't have to agree. When I think of give and take, my mind immediately goes to like emotional space for a friend kind of thing. So like if I'm really stressed out with school or like with everything on my plate and I'm at a low point, I'll like text my friend and I'll be like, hey, I'm feeling really low. Do you have the space to like help me out? And, they might say like, if they say yes, meaning they're at the peak and I'm at the trough. If they say yes, then they'd be like, okay, what do you need? Kind of thing.
Okay. I don't disagree with that.
And then I'd be like, I need to talk about my day. I need to just go shopping with someone. I've also said I just needed to tell someone, but I don't want to do anything about it. Like I just wanted to get it off my chest. Like I just wanted to name it. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to name it. And like for me and how I think about that is I'm taking, but I can't give yet.
Kind of okay. I understand.
Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Okay. Like I'm taking some of their water, which I get. Some people are like buckets and cups and whatnot, but I like my lagoon in Hawaii.
I understand. I was thinking about it from a different perspective, but we don't have to go into that.
Okay.
I get it. I agree. Once again, it goes back to communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. But everything leads back to communication. So here we are.
Communication is, what were we going to write on our merch? We need
I don't know. I'll have to look back.
We need
haven't edited any of those episodes.
We need suggestions for merch about communication. I feel like that's going to be...
Communication is key, but I feel like that's a very...
No, we need something about fall. You liked fall. Communication makes things fall into place. Oh, wait. Taylor Swift, hang on. Autumn leaves fall. Communication leaves falling down like pieces into place.
Girl, that's so...
Nope, we're doing that.
It's so long.
I just got a new water bottle. I could really use a sticker. I think that would be a great one.
All right, she's going to make those. We're going to go on customink.com.
Falling down like pieces into place. Like healthy relationships into place. Oh my God.
Okay, so on to the next point.
I think we should kind of get it wrapped up.
Yeah.
So
probably
we've talked about healthy communication and what that looks like. So I think we both said being honest, being respectful, being mindful of other people.
Yes,
but,
yes.
Saying what you want to say is important. We talked a lot about giving and taking and choosing people who, giving and taking, that two-way street. It's not just a one-person job. It takes two to tango kind of thing. Choosing the people who choose you. And you what?
100%.
I think you said you like that. I was like, oh, thanks.
I do like that too.
But also, yes, period. Choose people who choose you. And you should choose people who add to your life.
Yes. Yeah. Choose. I really like that you wrote choose people who bring you joy.
Oh.
Interesting. Okay, right. Okay, but right before we end it, number 5, I have to say.
Oh, tell
Okay.
people what number 5 is.
We'll make this short, but
Will we?
This not everyone has one best friend and nobody else. In fact, I think that's not healthy. I agree with you. So someone used to say, oh, I feel like it was an adult. Oh, your best friend is your best friend. Like you can only have one best friend. And I was like, oh,
Lies.
who said that?
Lies. Yeah.
Who said that? Because so how do you, like, I don't rank in my head. It's not this like perennial ranking where people are like shuffling up and shuffling down.
I absolutely used to. That's the thing. I don't know where I learned it, but it was a thing. And
because it was what was like accepted
media.
Or what people told you to do. Like, oh, you can only have one person who you're like the closest to, who you tell everything to. And it's like, no, I can't.
No.
Bro,
I have different friends for different needs.
Also, we sit in circles sometimes. So if everyone's cool with each other, like we're playing patty cake and we're telling our deepest, darkest secrets. Like
group therapy.
I just don't know.
Back to requiring colleges to do group therapy.
I don't know. I don't like when people say that. I don't agree at all. If I have 2 best friends or 3 best friends, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Fight me. It's fine. Also, 3 people can know you really well. I don't know. That's weird. You can know 3 people really well. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like people said that anticipating that you'd have like 10 best friends, but it's like, it's not 1 or 10.
Yeah.
Like we can have 2 or 3. What happened to, like, numbers wise, we jumped a little bit because
and it fluctuates too. Like there were times where I did have only one person I talked to deeply. And
totally.
Now it's more than that. So, and I'm like, I keep saying to myself, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm sad to think about, when people move away because we're not going to be as close anymore. And not to like, I don't think about it as like, oh, I only have this many best friends, but it makes me sad being like, oh, people who I consider my best friends now, I don't know how long they're going to be in my life because of people moving away, people's jobs, people's relationships.
No,
like that
100%.
kind of thing.
I mean,
that's
and that's
just me
okay.
being a
Things
worrier.
just change over time.
Yeah.
Things change over time. Friendships change over time. It's definitely natural. And I think, first of all, it should be expected.
Mm-hmm.
And, you just have to be okay with that. I think sometimes that's when you try to like latch on to things and it becomes unhealthy because that's when the give and take comes into play. And it's like, oh, you keep reaching out, but they're not doing it as much because they're in a different place. Yeah. It's like, it's okay.
It's hard. It's hard to be like, to let that thing go and to mourn that. And you should do that, I think.
Mourn. Yeah, that's a good word for it.
I really do. Like, I've had to mourn friendships, and it's...
Me too.
I, like, don't talk about it a lot because I feel like it's, like, weird to say, like, yeah, I mourned my friendship. But, bro, like,
friendship breaks.
Yeah.
Friendship breakups, or... No, okay, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Losing a friend can be worse than losing a partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, sorry, but... I don't know, you just talk, sometimes you talk more with your friend knows you better than the person you've been with in a relationship for a year.
Yeah.
Like, there's history, and that's okay. It's okay to mourn those friendships, but
I
also
think you should. I think we should normalize that
for your mental health. Like, if it's time to let it go, it's time to let it go.
That's what I tell my kids when they're throwing away their lunch and they won't let it go. I just say, let it go. I just sing them Elsa. And they're like, Miss Lane. I'm like, no, seriously, let it go.
You'll always have the memories. Never forget those, obviously. But, I think that's the one thing. You're just like, oh, but you won't be able to make future memories with them. And it's like, true, but also like reminisce on the time that you had together.
There's no shame in that. Like, it's okay to be like, we're not friends anymore, but oh my God.
Yeah, you don't have to badmouth nobody.
Exactly. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
we're wrapping this up by saying all the things we've said before about healthy communication and setting your boundaries, but being respectful.
I mean, you'll know, like, I'm sure you can find healthy friends. Yeah. I believe in y'all.
The internet's also an okay place.
Also advocate for yourself. I mean, you're your biggest advocate. If you feel like someone is,
oh my God, yeah,
repeatedly like you know, just draining you of
Yeah.
everything, like, you got to advocate for yourself because no one else will. They won't.
No, it's so true.
So just go with that. And that's the healthiest form of communication and of protecting your mental health and just yourself that you can do is, you know, you said boundaries. Boundaries meets communication meets advocacy. All those three things, put them together.
Like the pillars kind of
Yeah, and then you'll know who your real friends are and what you're able to handle.
And it takes time too. I personally would say I'm not an expert. I don't know everything about friends, and I'm 22. Like, no, but
I'm 23. It doesn't change in a year.
It's all a learning experience. And I think giving yourself grace to be like, yeah, I'm probably going to make mistakes with friends, and that is okay. And it's normal.
That's how you grow.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through it. And we can end it there.
Kind of. I was just going to say, coming up, talking a little bit about advocating for yourself. Coming up, we're going to be talking about living with people post-grad or living with your parents. Dun, dun, dun. And kind of the struggles that would come with that.
Yep. That'll be an interesting episode.
It sure will. I'm excited to get into it later.
Later.
Not now.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Make sure you're reading 1984.